Yeah, I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy.
But we're pretty visually appealing. By my standard of
yeah, guys, so I was watching a YouTube channel called White while playing this, so that's like all of the talking you hear is from watching his videos, so maybe go check him out and enjoy this video.
They were the best of the applicants, so it makes sense that even if they don't win the show, they could go on to become influencers in the space, so giving them advice for what to do in the future, even if not all of them were going to the finals, made a lot of sense. And hey, I think they did a reasonably swell job. The co-judge with James that comes back every episode was a woman named Norvina. This was my first time ever hearing her, but because she's the recurring judge and James said she had some serious accolades, I decided to take his word that she was indeed a big deal. The guest judge for this episode was Paris Hilton. I know who she is, but it didn't sound like she knew shit about what it was she was supposed to be judging, and given neither do I, so I can't exactly prove it, but if someone as clueless about makeup as me feels like that they're in the same boat as far as knowing what's happening as one of the judges, then that may or may not be a bad sign. But let's face it, her know-how wasn't why she was brought on as a guest judge. Luckily, that line of thinking that led to her being picked doesn't seem to hold true for all the other episodes. For whatever reason, though, they did a bunch of cut-in reactions of the dog she brought with her. Don't ask me why. Honestly, it was probably just the editors getting high as fuck while editing and dicking around. The winner of the challenge, though, was Kaylin, and the loser was Brittany. It was very sad because we all know she's a capable artist, and getting kicked off on the first episode has to suck shit. But it was not helped at all by the fact that the outro for every one of these episodes is the loser doing a sign off to the camera with James like it's a normal YouTube video, but it's right after they get told that they are being kicked off the show along with all their hopes and dreams.
James here with Brittany, and we are signing off of Instant Influencer Episode 1. Britt, thank you so much for joining.
Luckily, the kind of harsh and sad awkwardness that was practically screaming at me in that first clip is less prevalent in following episodes. Either that, or I've just finally built up a tolerance. But that's pretty much the gist of my thoughts on Episode 1. If you are interested in more of what I had to say, you can check out the original Instant Influencer video I made after this one. But for right now, let's press full steam ahead into Episode 2. It starts out with James getting out of the elevator in a bathrobe. Probably just got done hanging out and wag your souls, but he's up dead early in the morning at the hotel the contestants are staying at. Because he's got a day ruiner in store for them, I'm sure.
Good morning, Benny. Rise and shine. Did you just wake up?
Yeah, I'm literally like in underwear and everything.
Throw on some pants? Let's go.
Okay.
The lean, bruh. You just know that if they didn't get out of the rooms quick enough, Mr. Charles was gonna turn into Mr. Fantastic, slip through the cracks, and drag them down to the studio screaming himself.
So I see everybody in their little bathrobes, and I'm excited because honestly, I think we're going to a spa. Right? Right?
He makes a good point, though. Y'all look like you're about to head off to a ranch and start a cult. Like, what's all this about? It's starting to look a bit too much like the Hype House for comfort. Also, that was Indigo talking after he'd already changed and put on makeup, so I'm almost certain they recorded him saying what he thought they were doing that morning after it already happened. So that little right, followed by dooming silence. Scripted, bitch. I caught you, YouTube studio heads. So it was actually all for the Compact Challenge, where James forced everybody to get up early and get ready in 30 minutes so they can learn the art of rushing a video to 10 minutes. All of this will happen, though, after they Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games their way to the studio.
Let's go! Don't worry, you guys. I've never been in a car accident.
Well, that gives me hope, James. Holy shit, these kids are gonna die. That was a joke. I have full faith in James and his ability to drive a motorized vehicle. Anyways, the 30 minutes started as soon as they got to the studio, and it was absolute chaos. People were scrambling both for ideas at the edges of their empty heads and for things to use. I like how both episodes so far have used the kind of interview segment to explain things to makeup lobotomites like myself. People who have gotten brain surgery to literally remove the ability to register makeup as a concept. It's really helpful because I would have no idea what's happening without it. But hey, the contestants seem way more stressed than I do, and they know what's happening. So maybe ignorance is bliss and I should be counting my blessings. Eventually, time runs out and people have varying degrees of confidence about their work. They have to go head to head, and at the end of all the pee your pants inciting tension, Ashley won. That would make it the second Compact Challenge that she's won in a row, and the advantage it got her ties into the concept for the elimination Elimination Challenge, and also the guest star for this episode, Trixie Mattel, a drag star and supposed skinny legend? Listen, man, these are the words on the script. I don't know about any of this shit, so please cut me a break. I got rid of part of my brain for a bit in this video. James tells the cast that the Elimination Challenge this week is drag, because drag is super intertwined with makeup influencer culture, and there's a lot beauty gurus can take away from them. I am neither of those things and know next to nothing about the things that are being discussed here, so once again, I'm just going to defer to James's expertise on this one, if you don't mind. The man tells them that the challenge is to come up with and make a neck-up drag look in the space of 3 hours before then introducing said guest.
When I see Trixie Mattel walk in, I am so floored.
Big reactions. Very different from the one I had, but good for them. Now, James introduces Trixie as one of the funniest people he knows, and he wasn't kidding. Trixie has jokes at all times. The wit is locked and loaded at any given hour in existence for Trixie.
It's crazy that he's choosing to do a sad look when every day I put on makeup to cover a sad look.
1 minute. And then we're going to need you to put down your number 2 pencils and turn in your Scantron. This is your 10-minute time call. And not a drag queen 10 minutes, which is 40 minutes. This is the real thing. 10 minutes. If it makes you feel better, I'm going home today too.
Come on, they had some zingers in there, you gotta admit. Anyways, Trixie says that they want to see big choices here and encourage the contestants to go bold in what they do. This brings us back to the advantage that Ashley gets a 15-minute head start, as well as time to talk directly with Trixie for feedback on her look. Yeah, it's a fucking bag of an advantage, I know. So while she goes and does this, getting all sorts of useful advice that all the other loser contestants don't get because you lost, everybody else is made to sit on the couch and wallow that they don't get to talk to Trixie.
What do you think you guys are gonna go for?
I'm going for the pink one.
Me too. That's going to complement the idea I have.
Same. Realistically, everybody's going for the pink one because it's the cutest.
Yeah, this one's already off to an eventful start. Shit just keeps happening around here, huh? As soon as the timer runs out on Ashley's head start, though, it's like Sonic the Flash and all the fleeting years of my youth are having a race to see who can go fastest. They are once again going to get everything each of them need as quickly and frantically as possible. This kind of high energy keeps up throughout the whole time. Some people are saying they've never done drag looks on themselves or at all before. Indigo and Benny are like very silently beefing over this one pink wig they both wanted that Indigo managed to get.
Oh, you're so beautiful. Wig snatched. Literally. Sorry, Benny.
Girl, I'm really pissed off. I'm sorry, but I really am.
Why? What's up?
I was going for that wig because
Both Kaylin and Ashley decided to start over like halfway through the process. People are forgetting to turn on their hair dryer. Indigo put his wig on at the literal last second. Shit is crazy. God, I never thought I would be this invested in a reality show about aspiring beauty gurus. My life is a movie. My pussy stay real pop. Also, can I just say the music they were playing at the start of this section slaps so hard at double speed? This is a Baby Keem type beat. I am telling you that. I can totally see him spitting some bars about bending a hoe over on the dinner table and fucking up her spine on this beat. Oh yeah, it goes again a few minutes later. But now it sounds like something that Combat Christ would have made for the DMC reboot soundtrack. I know, it's everybody's favorite Devil May Cry game. At one point, we get some behind-the-scenes play-by-play thoughts from James and Trixie.
So if he can pick up the pace, I think it's going to be a really pretty look. Because his, of everybody, I think his face is definitely successfully reshaped.
Yeah, his contours in the right place, his jawline contours in the right place. It has like shade.
And that's cool and well and good, but God, producer rooms always look like torture chambers. They were definitely waterboarding someone in the back over there a few hours ago. Anyways, after that incredibly hectic sequence, we're finally in the judging room, and the contestants each get a chance to present their finished product and get feedback on it. For today, first up was Gabriel, who apparently has an out-of-this-world drag persona called Unity, and that the otherworldliness was the theme for his look. The judges ask him what the process is like, to which he says it was intense, and while the judges did like the look, they say the main thing is that it's good, but could have been great, and that to achieve that in the future, he needs to work on his time management skills so he doesn't run out of time. Kaylin is next, and straight up, Trixie admits that they thought Kaylin was, quote, full struggle bus, and she was, kind of. Kaylin was one of the ones who chose to just start over completely halfway through. Up next is a fan favorite over here on the Quite channel. It's me, I'm the fan, Ashley, who came in with another alien-esque look, but she did start over halfway through as well, turning her time advantage into practically nothing, but who knows, if she didn't have it, she may have realized she had to start anew too late, and the look might have been worse off for it. The judges generally like the look as well, but say that some different highlights to bring out different parts of the look would probably help to enhance it. Indigo is up next, coming with that absolutely stolen pink wig, and he did a supposed kawaii outfit around that, with some band-aids drawn on. I don't know, man, it's probably just me, but the term kawaii has been ruined by both Ollie London and Frenchie Morgan for me. Either way, Indigo gets absolutely laid into by the judges for some bits, and he starts crying. But he says that the reason he's doing that is because he agrees with the critique and holds himself to a higher standard, knowing that he can and should do better in the future and all that. Last up is Benny, who comes in with a twirl and like, what are you, gay? Anyways, he said he had a look in mind, but that he has a thing where his eyes can start watering pretty easily, which would mess up his progress, so he compromised and made it work by adding neon tears. James says that he likes it, but he would have liked to see him explore either flowers or tears more in depth, and not both because it supposedly takes up a lot of space. Norvina says it's her favorite conceptually, Trixie says it's the best browse of the night, but maybe too much lash because it hides the eye makeup a bit too much. And next is the judging time while the contestants wait, and the conversation here I found to be pretty interesting. It was nice to see that they didn't all agree on everything, and that they were all qualified people that just had different perspectives and opinions on the same looks, and there was a lot of chemistry to the way that they conversed and discussed the contestants' looks with each other. Next, everybody was cordoned off to their individual video making rooms like cows off to the slaughter. It's usually here where James will FaceTime the contestants to tell them if they've gotten glory killed or not, and Ashley ends up winning the challenge. It all gets whittled down to the last two though, Gabriel and Indigo. For this bit of the show, instead of booting the loser via FaceTime, James usually knocks on the door to have a final chat with them. The only issue is they have reaction shots of both contestants reacting to the door opening, so now I know one of these clips was not reacting to the door opening, but something else. So what was it then? I must know!
I cannot go home on a drag transformation challenge.
Hi, Indigo.
That's right, the phantom door knock reaction was Gabriel's, and the real one was Indigo's. Now just like Brittany, James sits down with Indigo to 720 insta-swap him off the show, while also having a pep talk and giving advice to him as the loser of that episode. He tells him not to be too hard on himself because James knows he's talented, and like I said, this outro hurts a lot less than the first one.
At least I went home a queen. Yes, that is the attitude to have. Oh my god, give me a hug. Love you too.
Indigo has the right attitude to keep going now more than ever, and there's a lot less visible trauma on his face. I mean, maybe crying earlier helped him keep it together here. Either way, best of luck to him in the future. Overall, another solid episode. I had a decent time watching it, and compared to the first one, I think this episode really benefited from not having to set up as much stuff, and instead got to focus on what it already established. It got to expand and build upon it. I think it goes without saying, but Trixie was a judge thousands of times better than Paris Hilton. You know, because she actually felt like one at all. A person who knew what they were doing. Oh, whatever. Anyways, moving on to episode 3. This one is called I Have to Apologize for This. And the thumbnail is a contestant crying while James looks on seemingly somberly.
Good morning, artists.
Good morning.
We have to talk. So, last night, I got a chance to look back at the footage from last week's episode, and I saw what you guys did. You all look really confused. You know what you did. I honestly feel like you all owe me an apology. And scene.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ, man, they look like you had a gun pointed at them. I know what you all did, and if you want to make it out of this room alive, you're gonna admit that you did it, and you're gonna give me an apology video. Otherwise, your brain's gonna be 20 feet from where you are right now, you bunch of backstabbing bootlickers!
As an influencer, when you grow a following, you will either say or do something that people might not like and might not agree with, and eventually, you might have to apologize. So for today's compact challenge, you guys will be filming your very own apology videos.
Oh my god.
Ooh, be right back. Gonna need a little more than that, I think. But anyways, yeah, the contestants each have to make their own apology video for the compact challenge, and they are each given a random minor scandal that they have to apologize for. You get 15 minutes, no editing, and it starts immediately. People are, as usual, being super speed, because the Autobahn is how it goes on the show, and they are all taking different approaches, from very seriously to complete joke and playing it up more than you need to, and also not finishing on time.
Allowing those ads to run in my previous video is absolutely unacceptable. At this point, all I can do.
So they all huddle around to watch, get a few laughs, get worried that it might be genuine, and Betty comes out on top of the compact challenge for being mad teary during his. The apology video only ended up being the minor challenge, and it's what the whole episode is named after, but personally I do like the way it was incorporated here. It's nice tongue-in-cheek. Now the elimination challenge is about collabs. So what do you think they're gonna do for this bit? Have the contestants team up and work with each other to try and work some kind of chemistry together? Yeah, not exactly. Instead, they busted out every single big gun they had at once.
Hola, hola. Hi guys.
Hello, you guys. Thank you all so much for joining me today. As I'm sure you guys know, but just to remind you, we have Nikita Dragon, trans icon, the baddest, Bretman Rock, the Latina, Louie, and also advocate for inclusivity, Nima Tang.
I love how they alternated between saying how much subs each of them had and how many views their top video had. It's not a problem per se, it just struck me as odd. Like, I'd use one metric across the board for all of them and keep it consistent, but that's just me. Benny Hanna's over here got a big fat one over on everyone else because he got to pick not only who he wanted to partner with, but also who all the others got to partner with. They are giving these kids every opportunity to pull a fast one on each other. The producers want beef. Anyways, his choices went like this. Nima and Gabriel, Nikita Dragovich and Ashley, who had matching shoes, Epic, and then lastly, Luis and Kaylin. And now that everybody's gotten their duos partner, we can finally play some Fortnite. I really gotta wonder, do y'all think Luis was miffed that he was picked last? Like, Benny didn't even pair him with someone. James just said, oh, you're all that's left, guess you're stuck with this one.
And then finally that leaves Louie with Kaylin.
We have the same jacket.
At the end of that, they were all left with 3 hours to record and edit the video, and as is standard for this part of the episode, all hell starts breaking loose as people try and figure shit out. There's a lot of talking between the contestants and the guests, and it's cool to see these small creators who are just now coming up get to interact with all these people they've watched. It evokes similar feelings to me when I first met Mr. Krabs in the SpongeBob video game. I drilled him for insider information on the stock market for hours, and that's how I'm so rich. With that dynamic, though, comes a huge range of experience. Everybody on some level in the show is used to being on camera, but the vets know it better, and they know how to work chemistry with other people better as well. And it's very interesting seeing the contestants try and compensate for that. Some of them doing a little too much, others arguably not enough. Some of them are more immediately connecting with each other than others, like Nikita and Ashley seem to have found chemistry with one another right off the bat. Very useful to have this soon into the 3 hours. And this is the first time, I believe, that the contestants have been able to get direct input throughout the entirety of the process. They can get feedback in real time, which I think helps contribute to long-lasting improvements, since they are able to immediately implement the things they learn. Though some of what the guests are saying is just some vaguely ruthless shit.
I feel like I'm doing a bad job because I feel like I'm not engaging with the camera.
If it makes you feel better, like in Gabriel, she's doing her makeup and he's not even in frame.
My dude just picked another contestant and threw him under the bus to make his charge feel better. The homie's got his priorities, and you do gotta respect that, you know? Editing was a struggle for a lot of people. The recording and brainstorming process ate up a lot of people's time and sanity, bringing them down to the wire. Going in per usual, some are more confident than others, and it remains to be seen whether it's at all deserved. In a change of format, the guest stars at the beginning aren't the guest judges. They remain with the contestants like a penguin does with its stupid, defenseless baby to be judged alongside them. And the guest judge is introduced now.
And we also have a very, very special guest, one of my closest friends, Nicole Faulkner, also known as Lipstick Nick. She's the director of global artistry for Morphe, and she's the founder of Pout Beauty Bar.
Man, I'm learning about new makeup-related people and places every day. Anyways, Bretman and Benny, which sounds like a very white boy podcast name despite not being that at all, are up first. Their video was a 5-minute makeup challenge, and this was their thumbnail. I would have personally zoomed in and blown out the saturation on that baby, but that's just me. It was cute and short as that was the challenge, and a good idea given the time frame, I think. Benny had some neat little editing quirks like the voiceover bit when they were out of time.
And we blending, bitch. And we blending, bitch. And we blending, bitch. Out of time, bitch.
I would give it 7 T-bone steaks out of 11. James was all, I like the high-paced energy and the fun you were having, but less cursing, please. I'm like, come on, bro. Stop being such a narc, dude. Please don't tell my parents I said shut up. Please, they're gonna ground me. Norvina said she enjoyed the high-paced nature of it all as well, and Lipstick Nick had some good advice on using a timer on screen instead of saying it out loud. That way they could talk while it was still going, and also making sure that Benny actually stays in frame during the video. Personally, I don't see the problem here. Now, in an interesting bit, Benny gives us his insight onto why he paired who with who.
I picked Bretman for me because as I started to makeup in 2015, you and Bretman were like the only beauty boys I really watched, and that really inspired me to do makeup. And for everyone else, I was just trying to like pair who I thought would work together.
Yeah, so it's definitely like a positive.
Yes.
This is a competition, though.
I mean, maybe his balls are just that huge, James. Maybe he's that confident he'll win that he's thinking, I'm gonna make this competition as hard as possible and still make it my bitch. Next up was the Black Ops 1 villain and Ashley with a good thumbnail and title combo. One I would zoom in on the faces a little more of so you can make it out a little better. But it does all fit together nicely, like when you have to put a slightly dismembered human corpse back together, and it has a nice emotional tug to it as well. All the judges said they would click it, but Lavina seems just slightly less enthusiastic about doing so than the others.
Okay, I would instantly click this.
Same.
Of course I would click it. You threatened to shoot me if I didn't. Their video was taking each other's makeup off and then also peeling off the layers of each other's personality. It's a metaphor, I think is the word. Also, I just noticed that Nikita bought a dog like Paris Hilton did. Mad flashback reaction over that one. But the feedback was mostly positive, save for one big thing the judges hit on, and that was the way a certain part of the video was edited.
I have this kind of bad bitch mentality. It's because that's like my almost like alter ego, and I just felt like I needed to have like a defense mechanism.
When you're pregnant in high school, that's not easy.
In the longer version that the judges actually saw, I assume it was a little more apparent, but their critique was that the way the video was cut, it sounded as if Ashley cut Nikita off when she was saying something personal to talk about herself again. And even if the IRL conversation didn't go like that, the viewer doesn't see the real life talk. They see what you show them. So you have to be very careful and precise with not only what you say, but how you deliver what you say and what you don't say at all. Next was Nima and Gabriel, who had the word Zodiac in the title, so I'm about ready to set this whole studio on fire. But the video itself was, rough.
So as you can see, I already started her lid. Her being an Aries, she is a fire sign, so that's what is inspiring this look today.
This is where it gets ugly. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all.
Bye.
Bro, step number 1. Don't say this is where it gets ugly during the judging bit. You don't want to put the idea of it being bad in their head before they even see it. They'll tell you what they see, trust me. Speaking of which, the consensus was pretty much the same. The artistry itself was very solid and came out well, but the video lacked focus and didn't have much of a plan to it. And I would imagine this is in large part because of how little editing time Gabriel had, where he finished up recording with only 45 minutes left on the clock. That's less time than it takes me to wake up on most days. Much less edit a video. Lastly was Kaylin and Luis, whose thumbnail was this. And let's try something different for this one, viewer. I want you to ask yourself, would you click on this video? It's mostly them talking about each other and just having fun. It's definitely more about the chemistry between the two than anything else, which I think is a smart move. Kaylin really seemed to base the video around Luis himself, incorporating a lot of things from his channel into the structure of her video, and personally, I feel like a part of what made it her video got lost in the process. In the end, had a little quote-unquote after credits bit, which was laughed at as an editing mistake, but if you played it off, I would have assumed it was a bit because I laughed at it too. The feedback from judges was about the same as what I said. They told Kaylin they worked well together, but that it felt like she was just asking questions the whole time. They were mostly just watching Luis. Though I should say that I personally think that the inquisitiveness that made her fade a little into the background has a lot of potential usefulness in other settings. Being able to ask good questions is a required skill to have as an interviewer, and so is being able to hold a good conversation in general. So imagine if Kaylin took that skill and worked on it for like a year or two. Interviewing people and learning interesting things about them, like how big of a freaking bed they are, both on her channel and off. Maybe doing some research about them so she can ask real interesting or deep-cut questions like Nardwar or Sean Evans style. And then eventually she sets up a beauty salon show in the format of something like Jeff's Barbershop, where it's a bit of a production, there's comedic elements, and you can bring people in and have interviews or discussions with them about whatever. But the whole time, you're doing their makeup! Even if they're not a celebrity who wears makeup typically, like if you're interviewing Cody Ko or something like that, that could like also be a part of the gag, presenting these celebrities and larger-than-life figures in the situation that you don't usually see them in. That was just one example, but it's good to be able to identify a potential skill that you have that might not work for what you're currently doing, and figuring out where you could place such a skill for it to become a strength in your asset. Anyways, long rambling show idea tangent over. At this point, I think you guys can unfortunately figure out who's going to be dipping out the competition though. The judgment sequence for this episode was very straightforward with that.
Shall we talk about the elephant in the room?
The overthinker in me was like, add more.
The editors really never do stop, do they? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Smash cut to Gabriel! Holy shit, that's evil. That is pure, unadulterated sin playing out of my monitor, man. It was so brutal that by the time we got to the FaceTime segment, James turned the format on its head again. He just dismissed everybody at once except for Gabriel because of how quickly they knew who they were going to be chopping up. It's fucked up, man. Anyways, let's get to that outro.
Some of your collab videos today really clicked, but some of them made me want to click away.
Is it gonna come back on?
That's fine. fucking cruel, man. He thought it was gonna come back on. Anyways, James pops in, and this one was pretty uneventful. It's always a little emotional to watch someone walk away, but there's a comfort in knowing that it isn't the end of the road for them. Just by virtue of being on the show, they have potential careers on their hands. And as James said, Gabriel is more than capable. He just has to keep pushing forward. And hey, outro wasn't too awkward. Overall, this episode was a bit of an interesting one. It was shorter, but it felt so much more filled up because of the amount of guests and faces on it, especially given how popular some of these faces are. I would have personally introduced the guest judge along with the guest contestants, if only so dunderheads like me had a little more time to get acquainted with her and her personality, so that by the time we saw her judging, we would have already had a bit of a handle on her perspective. Even then though, it's not as if her point of view doesn't come through in this episode. You can tell by the way she judges and talks about the subject matter that she knows what she's doing, so already better than Paris Hilton again. But I think that could have been amplified even further with more screen time and an earlier introduction. I also think maybe that the compact challenge of this episode shouldn't have given someone such a big leg up if the criteria for winning can be making James Charles laugh. Like, Benny's intention was to not take it seriously, which, while it does show his ability to provide entertainment value, it doesn't demonstrate his ability to handle himself in an actual one of these situations, in my opinion. So rewarding him with such a potential game changer of an advantage for that feels out of line with what the show was trying to achieve. Anyways, that's about all I have to say about episode 3, so moving on to the grand finale, a mega makeup moment, Instant Influencer episode 4. Let's get to skimming, boys. Our final 3 are Kaylin, Ashley, and Benny. The episode opens up with us going to see them each in a little more personal of a setting for the first time, in their hotel rooms. That sounds weird. Each contestant has a little interview bit at the start, recapping their origins and motivations, and I think it helps re-establish who they are. But more importantly, a lot of new people will be watching the finale without having watched the other episodes at all, so this helps them become characters in the viewer's mind if they have never seen an episode of Instant Influencer before. When they're all at the studio again though, James starts the episode with some kind words about how this has been a unique experience for him as well, and that it was epic getting to share it with them. I think it's a nice emotional beat to kick off the episode. Now for the finale, the contestants were told to think big as their only hint, and because of this, the compact challenge is forgone, which I think was a smart move, because now that it's down to the wire, the winner should be decided completely based on their own merits and the work they put out, not by some advantage that muddies the results. The challenge is this: create the next mega makeup moment, the next viral look that every makeup artist will be trying to recreate and replicate. You get 3 hours for brainstorming and making, and 45 minutes for a photo shoot where each contestant is the creative director. It is a lot of pressure, and it's pretty clear every contestant is starting to feel the heat, but I do think this next section is the best demonstration of the character growth all the finalists have undergone. The work is directly inspired by what the peeps are feeling, so it shows in the process too. Speaking of which, during said process, James takes each of the cast aside and goes through the design with them, giving some feedback. He liked Kaylin's, but she made a typo, which spelled the end of the world as we know it. He says Ashley's off-white inspired look won't get them into any, quote, sister lawsuits as long as no actual logos are used, and when Benny comes around, he has some brutally honest words.
I'm a little bit worried with this because it is very, very similar to what Ari wore in that music video. What's your messaging behind it?
I'm not sure.
You need to come up with your concept and you need to have a strong message behind it. That's what's going to sell it, and that's what's going to make the audience want to love it and also recreate it. And I'm worried that almost like this look, you're kind of hiding behind this like Benny mask.
Yeah.
And I want to see Benny as a person because we love Benny.
And from then on, shit was not the same. You could tell Benny took those words to heart and that it was going to be an uphill battle to try and pull it back for him. That on top of the final stress I mentioned earlier, people were making split-second decisions all the time. Like Benny's bunny look had him desperately duct taping the bunny ears to his skin, and they were at danger of falling off the whole time. Ashley realized she was running stark out of time and had to make a last-second decision to wipe half her face off because she wouldn't be able to finish the details on that side. It was a massive clusterfuck of movement and makeup. Also, to add to that, this has been the first episode where I have felt a palpable tension or kind of rivalry. Ashley is talking about how she's pretty confident, not just because of her skill, but also because of the skill of the other contestants, or rather the lack of when compared to her. And when she's in her zone, she seems a little more irritable when interrupted, which is understandable in a race against the clock, you know? Also, there's this bit.
I can't breathe out my nose. Holy shit.
Just genuine shock. Probably thinking, oh damn, he actually can't breathe. Well, less competition that way, and then she puts a plastic bag over his head to finish the job. Anyways, that brings us to the judging segment of this episode, where the guest judge was the Mario. Y'all already know I don't know who the fuck this is. I am out of touch with the kids, but apparently he did some iconic Kim Kardashian makeup looks, so I'll take y'all's word for it. Anyways, first up was Ashley, and the first impressions from the judges seemed pretty positive, like she had made a quality piece of work. The whole idea, she said, was breaking things down into labels like the Off-White brand, and that's exactly what she did here. labeling the different parts of her face what they are called, some in quotes, some not. She was praised on the photo composition as well as the recreatability, which plays into that idea of a viral trend that they were all shooting for. The main note for it, though, was its consistency. Some of the lines supposedly weren't as good as others. Listen, man, I ain't fucking know, that's what they said, okay? But pretty positive vibes from the judges. Next up was Benny, and he did another one of them real extra entrances, where to play into the bunny thing, he literally hops over to the stage to be judged. The picture he took to me looks like it was shot as a TanaCon promotional image. It's too similar for my taste. The idea behind this one, though, was that the bottom half was to show how Benny was really kind of soft and sweet and all that, but the top bit was meant to embody how he wanted to come off as fierce, but how by doing so, he was almost wearing a mask over who he truly was. James was impressed by the lengths he went for the look, by gluing cotton to his face and how he made the ears, but others were critical of how much simpler it could have been while achieving a similar effect. The biggest critique was that it's not really a look that somebody is going to copy. It's not really viral, and there's like one particular bit where you are really forced to understand that.
I'm not seeing a trend, I'm seeing like a Halloween look, a fun little DIY Halloween look.
Alright, maybe this is the next Halloween trend. Thank you, Mario.
Jesus, man, he do really have some big, strong, swank confidence on him. Clip aside, I feel like I should mention this at least a little bit. People have been saying they don't like Benny because they think he acts like a brat or something, and are just generally giving him grief for the way he acted on the show at some points. But dudes, listen to me, I get where you're coming from, but this is reality TV, aka the farthest thing from reality imaginable. The way the episode is edited plays up the emotions, and Benny has no control over that. And the dude's still in high school at the moment. Just let him be for now. Though this does...
Goodbye, say goodbye to the knife that you shoved